My name is Jay Bridgeball. I'm a real estate broker since 1988. I've seen the good days, the bad days, and the not so bad days. My passion is to educate consumer about all aspects in real estate. Actually, I sold over $1.75 billion in real estate. Now, that's a lot of experience. I went through many failures, many successes, and I've seen many stories that you will be amazed. Not everything looks so glamorous as it is sometimes. On Let's Talk Real Estate, we will dig deep down and I will take you step by step through every process, from buying your first home to buying a multi-million-dollar investment property. We will have various people on this show: lawyers, investors, we'll have mortgage brokers, appraisals, and everyone else to assist us to take you to that point. My aim is to break it down in such easy terms that you will be able to follow. So please join me every Thursday between 1 and 2, and let's talk real estate.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. Here with your host, myself, Amit Kanhai, and Jay Bridgepal is back from his hiatus. We have a very special episode today, not just because Jay is back, but also we're doing part 4 of our Q&A. Now, Q&A is basically, Jay, as you know, it's all the comments and emails that we get that come in. And, we're just going to jump right into it. So we'll do segment 1, 2, 3 of that, and then we'll do a brief market update, as always.
That sounds fair. Sounds fair.
Alrighty. So let's jump straight into it. Now, the first question that this one came up a couple times. Now, what is the importance of a land survey when purchasing a property? A lot of people say, I don't need it, but...
Yeah, a lot of people say, hey, you don't need a survey anymore because you can get insurance.
Yeah.
You can get title insurance that cover you.
Yeah.
Right, but it's very important. First of all, what is a survey? Right, a survey is a piece of document, is a drawing that show the boundary of your property, as well as it will have a rough diagram of the outlay of your home.
Yeah, like some on the street, and a little bit of run over onto the neighbors as well. And,
Right.
it really is important because you can see what you own. So it is, but then the title insurance. So elaborate more on that.
Well, another important reason for survey. Let's say you want to extend the property. As the first thing, what they will need is a copy of that survey.
Right.
To see whether you can do it. Remember, all property have something called easement. Easement for hydro, for water, for gas that runs on the property.
Yeah, all the lines that run to your home.
Right. Yeah. Most of it tend to run under the driveway, through the garage, which is usually easy to get dug. But in the older days, many times it run across the property.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so imagine it runs across the property and you have to extend.
Right.
Chances are you can't.
Oh.
And you can't see that.
Right. And
because you can't cover or you can't build an easement.
Right. So then, Jay, I guess you can elaborate on this. Is that when you are, doing a driveway or maybe planting something, and you have to, they say always call Enbridge and always call the gas company. They come out and they, spray something on the ground.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Anytime you're using any machinery, it's always good to call these companies, check it out, right? Because, you don't want to go and rupture a gas line, right? You might be blown right up in the air.
You
right?
blow up, yeah, exactly.
Right, you don't want to do that. These are dangerous things. But coming back to the survey tell you exactly where your lot line is.
Right.
Many times we find that the fence, the fence between you and your neighbor sits on the lot line.
Right.
Right? In that case, most people tend to go with it. But then there are some cases, I've seen people go in and put on their fence. They put it 2-3 inches into the neighbor property.
Oh.
The neighbor said, hey, you know what? I got my survey, and according to that, your fence the fence that you built is in my property. I want you to remove it and put it on the lot line or put it in your property.
Right.
Right? So these are problems where you can catch from the survey.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So, as I guess to just circle back to the actual question, is it important? Do we need it?
You always
I think so, yeah.
once you buy a property, anything that's freehold. Freehold properties are not condominiums. They are property that stand by themselves, like a semi-detached, a detached, a
Yeah.
row house or townhouse that don't have maintenance fee. You should make sure you have a survey.
Great. So it is really, it's quite important.
It's very important. Many times, what happened, the realtor or sometimes even the lawyer says, "Hey, you got title insurance to cover you in case anything happened."
Well, you see, and that's that's the funny thing now, because Jay, a lot of agents out there these days, they say, "Hey, don't worry, you have the title insurance," but they're kind of sweeping under the rug the importance of what the survey is.
Definitely. In the older days, the bank would not give you a mortgage if you don't have a copy of that survey and they don't have a copy of it.
Wow.
Right? Today, because of title insurance, again, they leave it that way.
Oh,
Right?
interesting.
But it's always important to ask for a copy of the survey, put it in your purchase of sale agreement, and negotiate. There are ways you can get it. I have a situation where one of my client downtown Toronto needed a copy of the survey. I'm talking in the mid 90s.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And he couldn't find one. So what we did, we went 10 homes on both sides and 10 homes across and see if anyone have a survey that will have his property on.
Oh, okay.
And we offered a person $100 for a photocopy of theirs.
That sounds like a good deal to me.
We did find one guy, he didn't mind. He said, okay, great, $100 for a photocopy.
That's a good
And my
price.
guy saved about $1,200.
Yeah, because otherwise you'll have to call a surveying company to do it, or go
You
to
gotta
the
get a
city.
surveyor.
Yeah.
Or you may be lucky if they got it in the city. There are online websites now that tend to save all the surveys, so you can go and check. And based on that, you can know that whether they have a copy of your survey.
You know, it's also a good negotiating tool, as you mentioned, because if you put it in there and they don't have it, you know, it's something that you can negotiate on, or at least get the seller to fork out the extra bucks to, you know, get it done.
To get it done, but the whole idea, you should get a survey.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Survey is very important.
That's good. That's important. Now, I have one very funny question. I guess it's not funny, but it's one of the hot topic items.
Okay.
Now, Jay, do I have to disclose a death in the home? Ooh,
Do you have to disclose a death in the home?
I should have saved this one for Halloween.
Well, no. Well, the whole idea, it's called a latent defect or a hidden defect.
Right.
Okay? A latent defect is something that you cover up or you hide because you don't want someone to know. Right? That's what a latent defect is.
Right. Right.
Now, if it's a natural death in the home, then you don't necessarily have to disclose.
Right.
I mean, natural death is natural death. However, if it's a violent death or suicide or so, it's you should disclose, because I've seen cases where the judge says that consider something that you have hide. Had the person know that
Right.
this happened, probably they would not have bought the home.
Yeah, and you know, Jay, it's interesting you mentioned that, because there was a case I just saw on the news, or maybe it was on Facebook or something, a few weeks back in Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver,
Yeah, and it
yes.
was like a $3 million property, and it wasn't disclosed. There was a mafia type of thing that
Right,
happened,
yes,
and
yes.
it actually happened, Jay, at the front gate, so it wasn't in the home. So the seller thought they weren't necessary to disclose. Buyer found out about it after the fact. The whole deal got canceled, and the buyer got their deposit back.
Yep.
Really? So it's, I guess, anywhere on the property in
it's
general.
considered a property.
In general, yeah, that's
general,
good.
the property.
And you know what, Jay? It's interesting. I want to also let our viewers know that you can give us a phone call if you have any questions. The number's right up on screen, 647-931-4701. We're here to answer all your real estate questions, and we have your answers.
Yes.
All right, Jay. So another hot button question. Now this one's about title. We already covered title insurance, I guess. So let's move on here. Okay. what are the tax consequences of selling a property? Now, Jay, we had a tax accountant on here once or twice, but now being tax season,
Right.
I guess we can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well-
If it's a rental property versus a primary residence.
Right. If it's a principal resident, there is no capital gains.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay any capital gains. All the money you make can go towards your other property,
Yep.
or you keep it.
Mhm.
However,
Yeah.
let's say you were renting, or you were renting your basement,
Mm-hmm.
and you claim that that part is an investment.
Right.
Then the laws may change.
Mm.
That portion can be considered as an investment, and you may subject to capital gains. That's
On-
why.
Oh, really?
Think about it. You're utilizing a room in your home as an
Yeah.
office,
Yeah.
and you're getting right off for it.
If you're claiming, you should also have to pay.
Well,
Yeah.
remember, CRA wants their money as well. You can't got two sweet from the same joint.
Right.
Right?
You know what, Jay? It's funny to really think that these things they're evolving.
Yes.
The laws are evolving as properties are changing and the uses of the properties are changing.
They're changing definitely. So that's where you have to be careful, whether it's fully 100% principal resident or not.
Yeah, and I guess with everyone, legalizing, or rather, should I say, retrofitting their basements for, as a
Yeah.
secondary dwelling.
Yes.
These laws are going to have to be a little bit more
You
fluid.
got definitely you got to look at it that way as well, right? Because you're considering that, hey, well, if part of it is a rental, let's say the basement, and the government giving you something called depreciation allowance.
Right.
If you decide to take that, then when you sell, you got to pay the capital gains.
Yeah, you got to pay the piper, right?
Right, definitely, definitely.
And I guess with investment properties too, that's obviously that's considered capital gains and whatnot.
Well, here, look at it this way. On the capital gains is not something really to over worry yourself. I'll put it this way. Out of the profit you make on an investment property, let's say 300,000 or 100,000, just for round figure.
Yeah.
You keep 50%,
Mm-hmm.
and the other 50% is added on your tax bracket, and then you pay a tax accordingly.
Right.
So technically, 25% of the money on capital gains,
Yeah.
you really pay.
Yeah.
You keep 75,000 of the 100, you pay 25.
Right.
Now, if you make an income,
Of
let's say
a
let's say
higher
you-
tax bracket.
Let's say you're working and you make an income of $100,000.
Oh, yeah.
Then chances are 50,000 is taxed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you're really gaining a lot with capital gains, right, compared to regular income.
Yeah, and I guess I guess this is why we tell most of our clients, especially our investors, hang on to the darn property and scoop out some equity and then buy another one.
You know that we have been preaching that for years. I mean, the thing now, the media are coming. Oh yeah, now it's time to get into investment property. People should go out and get an investment property. But we've been doing this for years. So
yeah.
our client.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The whole trend of
we hit.
the whole trend of flippers and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
I guess everyone's watching HDTV too much and thinking they can do it, right?
Right. The bottom line is that our philosophy: buy, hold, and profit.
That's it, and
take
that's
out some money instead of selling the property. Take out some money and buy another one and leave it there.
yeah.
Right? I mean, we are realtors. Realtors like commission. Most of them will tell you to sell the property.
Yeah, exactly.
We are telling you
That's true.
not to sell the property.
So I always say, man, you got to go with the realtor that tells you not to sell. But on that note, what I'll do is I'll ask our viewers just to stay tuned. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in just a few to answer some of these hot button questions.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Real Estate here with myself, Ann McCanhigh, and obviously Jay Bridgepall, the star of the show. So welcome back, Jay. Really want to, welcome you back to the show. It's been been different without you, but I'm glad to have you here. What we want to talk about in this episode, specifically, just really what we're talking about is all of the questions and answers that people have that are rolling around in your mind, and we get, a bunch of text messages and calls about this after every show. So this is a show that we're going to answer the questions. Now, here's one. Now, what is land transfer tax, and why do I have to pay it?
Well, look at it this way. If you go into the store to buy anything, you got to pay tax.
Right.
They call it a sales tax. Right? But when you buy let's say the
It's
mic,
physical,
you take it home. But you cannot fetch a piece of land home. That's why you transfer the land.
Right.
Right? So that's why it's called a land transfer tax.
Okay, well, on that note, I have a follow-up question that's right underneath it. So then why must I pay property tax?
They are something different. Land transfer tax is when you purchase.
Right.
Right? Usually, a rule of thumb, it's about 1% of the purchase price. Let's say capped at 500,000, 1.5 above that.
Right.
Buying in this 416 area as a second-time buyer, then
A little
you
bit
have
more
to
costly.
double. Right? Now, property tax. Remember one thing, that technically we do not, although you think you own your property, you don't own it.
Right.
It belongs to the Crown.
Yes.
Right? And you are really buying something called a bundle of rights. Right to enjoy, right to sell, right to quiet enjoyment, right. To all these different things.
To do whatever you like on that property.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happened, therefore, the Crown, for all those rights, they says, hey, you got to pay for it. And that's where property tax become in line. Property tax is every year. Land transfer tax is only when you buy. That's about it. One time and finish. But property tax is
ongoing.
every year, and every year we have seen it going up.
So it's basically, we don't own it. The Crown owns it, and maybe we're elaborately renting.
Yeah, we are elaborately renting. Definitely, we are renting and having the enjoyment.
All those other benefits.
Right, yes.
Okay. Then now, this is a question that I actually get answered or asked a lot. Now, Jay, can you explain what is a deed and why I don't get it when I purchase this house?
Okay, a deed is really a piece of document that shows that you are the owner of this property. Many people say, but I don't have a deed.
Exactly.
And if you look at your paperwork, you will see a long sheet of paper. They still do it in the old days, long style.
Yeah, long form,
Right. And it will say transfer deed. It will not say deed.
Yeah.
What happened? If you got a mortgage on your property, right?
And this is it.
The bank will take your deed in lieu for the money.
Yeah.
So you transfer your deed to the bank in lieu for the money you borrow.
Right.
That's what a mortgage is. And what happened after you pay the bank off, then the bank will give you something called a discharge. You go to the registry office, say, hey, I don't have a mortgage anymore. This is my discharge. And then they will release the deed back to you.
Interesting.
Now everything is done electronically. Anyway.
Well, and that's funny again, and especially while we're on the topic of ownership, right? Technically, if you have a mortgage on your home, you don't own your home.
The bank own your
The
home.
bank owns your
The
home.
bank got your home in their asset column.
Exactly.
Right? Your home for you is in your liability column.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
Yes.
So it's very funny to think about that because as years go by and a lot of people forget about having to do actual accounting and things just kind of push forward and the bank says, yeah, sure, this is your home, you own your home, but where's the deed? really.
But you really don't own your home. The bank own your home.
Until the discharge and the deed is
Right.
actually
But
done.
mortgages are so important
Mm-hmm.
to have to build wealth.
Yes.
You find that the more you build wealth, the more mortgages you accumulate,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got one property, you might get, let's say, 200,000 mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
You got two property, you got 400,000
Yeah.
mortgage. You got three properties, 600,000
Yeah.
mortgage, right? But what it is, it's a way for you to build wealth because you're putting a small amount, the bank is putting most of it, and on a long-term basis, you gain by the appreciation of the property. And the amount owing drops, so you gain that equity.
Yeah, and
yeah.
definitely. So it's asset appreciation is just a phenomenal thing, and especially
Right.
if it's an investment, even if it's your own personal home.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So remember, it's good to get the deed to your property,
Mm-hmm.
but a transfer deed is okay because I as an investor,
Mm-hmm.
I always want a mortgage on my home. I mean, I will take out even a line of credit, which is in a way a mortgage.
Yeah.
Right? And I will now lend that money in elsewhere. Also, with all what's going on today in the electronic world and people are stealing the deed and everything, it's good to have a line of credit or
Yeah.
a mortgage on your property.
Just so the bank is the one that's liable for it.
Right. So what happened? No one can go and just register a first mortgage on your home.
Because there's obviously one already, a
One
charge already
right,
registered from the bank.
So they got to contact that person or the bank and say, hey, you know what? We want to register something subsequently.
Oh, so it's a
a
good
protection.
and it's funny you mentioned that too, Jay, because I myself I have 3 properties and there's mortgages on all of them, and I wouldn't have it any other way because I have access to line of credits
Yes.
that allow me to, if a good deal pops up or something comes up, you're able to make a good investment.
Well, that's the whole idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the whole idea on a long-term basis. I've been doing that since 1989. I started investing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've never sold my investment properties.
Yep.
And I continue buying, and then I scoop from them, and I start to put them in commercial.
As you say, yeah.
Right. But I love for the bank to hold my deed. Right?
That's it. Then it's buy, hold, and profit.
Definitely.
You know what? That's a good segue. We should make sure that some of our viewers are going to be joining us for the social. That's on May the 6th. So that'll be a great year speaking there, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes,
Okay.
yes. A good time to come. Yes, and
it
there are
should
a
be-
lot to learn. I mean, sometimes it just take one idea
Mm-hmm.
to put you in a different orbital level in life.
Yeah, a different mindset. Sometimes you just gotta shake it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Meet some people. So yeah. Anyways, that's May the 6th. Now, next question that's along these same lines, Jay. Now, it's do I really need a property appraisal when I'm purchasing a property? Now, many people say that the bank is requiring an appraisal. Why do they do this?
Well, in a market that is going up, right? The bank want to make sure their value is there. In a market that is going up constantly, the bank is not that much keen. They still require an appraisal if you put 20% down. If you put less, then Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation is being insured. They usually do their own internal appraisal. They have
Right.
something called Emily. Emily is a electronic system that does a search in the area and will be able to do let's say without visiting the
value.
property and get an idea of the value.
Yeah, we used to call it when I was at the bank. We used to
Yes.
call it a drive-by appraisal because no one even looks at the property. It's
Right.
just you punch it all in the system and then you get an approximation value.
Right, but if the market is coming down, like what's happening now, the banks are very, very, very cautious because they want to make sure that the value is there. Let me put it this way on it. Now, you got to lend me, let's say, $100,000. I'm coming you to borrow.
Okay.
Right? I'm telling you that I bought this property for $1 million, but really and truly, I bought it for 200,000.
Mm.
If you had not sent out someone to appraise it,
Right.
to know the real value,
Right.
you will be in big mess.
Oh, that's true.
Right? Think
Mhm.
about it.
Because
Right.
what if, heaven forbid, you default and don't make any payments?
The
and
value is not there.
The value is not there for me to collect the money.
Right. So it's imperative that in today's market, the bank will send an appraiser out. Sometimes if you're buying a property, you get a commitment letter from the bank. It might be subject to appraisal.
Mm.
I recommend that before you waive the condition, try to get that appraiser done. Let your get the appraisal done early before you
Yeah.
remove the condition.
It's a very good point, Jay, because in recent months, probably in the last 6 months, the bridge team has actually been sneaking that into all of their purchases, and it's about that. This is still conditional that the appraisal comes in at the value that we've agreed to purchase the property
Yep,
at.
that's important.
Yeah, and this is a really important thing because what happens is, in a market like when a lot of properties under 650 right now are actually going very quickly because that's where affordability is right now.
Right.
So I had a deal just about maybe 4 weeks ago,
Right.
where the property was purchased at 595,500. The bank appraisal came in at 590.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like we actually have a call. I'll put a pin in that. Hi there. Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate here with, you're on the mic with Amit and Jay. You have any questions?
Hello.
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 Hi there. Can you hear
Sorry
us?
about that. Hello.
Hi there. Can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
How are you? Is this Amit?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Hi. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The other episode, I don't remember exactly which one it is,
Yeah.
but you were talking about concentric circles.
Yes, yes.
Can you elaborate on that for me?
Actually, definitely. You know what? We have the expert of concentric circles here right now. Jay, can you give us a little bit of a?
Yes, the whole idea of just imagine a silent pond. You throw a rock in the middle of the pond. You will find that it will make ripples, right?
Yeah.
Ripples going out.
Okay.
Right.
Now the biggest ripple is in the center where the rock falls, right? Just
Okay.
consider real estate as the same. So most action it will be at the center of the city. And as you go out farther, the ripple gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
So we're talking like Square One, or Bramalea or Toronto, at CN Tower.
Right, within every city, let's say we are talking first downtown Toronto.
Yep.
Let's say we move the next concentric circle to the 905 area.
Right.
Then the next concentric circle will be, let's say, in another area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, similarly, in every, let's
Little
say,
pocket, yeah.
municipality, Mississauga, Brampton, you will have some business that is flourishing, like, for example, where the main economic hub is.
Right.
Square One, in terms of Bramalea City Center or so.
Or a financial district.
Right, definitely. So what happened? That's the center of action.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always good to buy close to the center of action because in a growth period, those go up faster in value.
Yeah.
And in a
Oh, okay.
recession, they're the last to go down in value. Okay, so many people are
Okay.
saying here, you know what? I'll go and buy a home in Timbuktu. I will pay less money and get a mansion.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what happened in a recession? They are the first to fall off the map, and in a growth, they are last to grow in price. So it's always good to be in the first concentric circle. If you can't, then you go to the second concentric circle, and then gradually you take it from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry, we didn't get your name there.
It's Charles.
Okay, Charles.
Charles.
Yeah, definitely. So, in our advice, better to maybe even get a little bit of a smaller property in the first or second ring versus going out to the third or fourth, just because your asset is you know, a little bit more protected.
Definitely. I mean, also if you're going for investment, sometimes you look at like a waterfall. The concentric circle are like a waterfall where every circle is a little bit lower. So what happens if you feel that the first one is too expensive, then you want to buy in the second one because the overflow will catch you and your value will go up.
Right, right, right.
Okay.
All right, good.
That answers my question, actually, because I was looking for an investment property going all the way out to London.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you know what then? You know
So-
what? Maybe do us a favor. I'd like to chat with you after. When you scroll down on the bottom of the video, just fire us a text or an email, or even check us out on Instagram, and then we'll connect after this.
Yeah, we'll guide you.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem. Take care.
Take care, Charles.
Perfect. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
All right. And with that, well, we're actually out of time for this segment. So what we'll do is I'll ask our viewers just to take a quick break, watch some of our lovely commercials, and we'll be back in a few.
Great. And how's your experience been so far?
I'm loving it because
This is my first year here, and I was so excited.
I've had so many people come, so much traffic. I'm absolutely tired.
Because of all the exposure that I got from this great event, I was able to grow and evolve and create my very own label.
It's been a fantastic event.
This is my second year.
This is a great and awesome event connecting to the community.
So yeah, we urge you to join here. It's a great turnout.
So for those of you who are not here this year and have business, make sure that you're here next year because it's only going to get better every year.
So I will be back next year. So thank you. Business Social, it's awesome.
So people who aren't here, what would you tell them?
You're missing out. Come out and have some fun.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. Obviously, with myself, Emma Canhai, and Jay Bridgepaul. So we're just doing a lovely question and answer period with all the buildup of all the questions and emails that we get throughout the last few months, and this is that show. So I have a funny one for you here, Jay. Now, a viewer is asking. Now, I looked at a property yesterday with a realtor who was quite obviously had no clue what he was doing. Can I switch agents and still buy that house?
It depends. It depends. Usually, to buy a home, just like when you want to sell a home, you're entering into a contract with the realtor.
Right.
If the realtor would have come to you with a buyer representation agreement,
Right.
Fill it out, explaining to you what you're signing, and they give you a copy of it, then you have a contract with them.
Right.
If they haven't done that, then you don't have a contract with them. If you don't have a contract with them, then you can go and choose any agent to buy the home.
Or even go direct?
Yep, definitely. In the old days, it was different. I can remember in the early 90s, even if I do an open house and your client that you're working with for 6 months pop in and you have never showed them the home, it was right of introduction. I get paid. I lost deals that way in the early 90s.
Wow.
And Remax was the first to fight it really hard to say, you know what, that's not right. I've been working with this guy 6 months. He saw a sign, he called you, you show the house. Right of introduction, you sell him the house. Right? So that's why they said, no. Just like a seller have to sign a contract,
Right.
a buyer must sign a contract.
That makes sense.
Right.
It's about fairness.
It's about fairness. So the bottom line is that if you sign a buyer agency agreement, then you are tied into that period.
Right.
Many realtors out there, they will shuffle a set of papers to you to sign that I'm taking care of your interest and don't explain all these things
Yeah,
to you.
because it's 9, 10, 15 pages you're initialing and signing on an
Right,
offer,
they
yeah.
will most time they do it when they are preparing an offer for you.
Right.
Then they put all that in and get you to sign.
Mhm.
Always ask the realtor you're working with whether you have to sign a buyer agency agreement. What are the terms of the agreement?
Exactly, yeah.
Right, I've seen situation where the terms of the agreement states that they will get paid 2.5%. If it states that, then chances are, let's say you decide to go buy a property, they can technically come after you
If you don't use them.
if you don't use them. You use another realtor, they can literally take you to court and get their money.
And you know, actually, it's good you mentioned that, because that was actually an article in the news just a few months back,
Oh, yes.
in Toronto
Yeah.
itself,
Yeah.
and everything went to court, and they ended up not using the realtor to buy the home, and they actually, I think, in my opinion, when I reviewed the case on both sides, and not as an expert, just reading the newspaper, I believe that the buyer genuinely didn't know that that's what the case was, but they were forced to pay the buyer realtor, the one that they didn't use, and it was out of pocket. And I believe there was a quote in there or something like that. It was the judge or something like that was saying, "Is this your name? Is this your signature?" And really, that's what it comes down to. Ignorance is not a thing with contracts, Jay.
No, you've signed a contract, you're held by it. You can't go and say, you know what, sorry, I can't speak English. You're in an English-speaking country.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, so bottom line is that you must read what you are signing, or you can literally, in many cases, you can ask the realtor to leave the paperwork with you
Oh yeah.
for at least 24 hours before you sign it. Most good business people. I've dealt with many investors that invest sometimes millions of dollars.
Yes.
And they tell me right up front, Jay, I'll tell you what, we will go with it. We will do everything that we got here. But we have a rule that we don't sign anything within 24 hours.
Okay.
Right? So follow the same trend. I mean, we got to learn from people who are better than us.
Right, of course.
Right? Follow the same trend. Say, hey, you know what? Leave the paperwork with me. Let me take it home. Let me read it through. Let me sleep over it.
Right.
And then if I feel everything is good, we will sign it tomorrow.
You know, Jay, that is a really important, because when you think about it, any good businessman, as you said, or any good agent is going to say, well, that's a very reasonable request. That I'm asking you to sign some documents.
Yes.
You deserve the right to review this over, and sleep on it.
I've seen situation where the buyer agency agreement, realtors put 1 year.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, buyer initial where it says from such time to such time, sign at the back. The realtor feel that, you know what, well, I got 20 buyers that are tied up in a year. He don't really care that much.
He doesn't return calls.
He does not return call, do not provide proper service or anything else. And the poor person coming to me say, hey, well, we want to buy a home, we want to switch realtor. I asked him to bring all the documents they have signed. He said, sorry, you are tied into a contract.
Yes.
Go try to get a cancellation. The other realtor says, no, I'm not canceling. Suddenly they are tied in for a year.
Wow.
If you're doing a buyer contract, I advise tops 2 months. 3 months, yes, I could see with that.
Right.
But make sure that you give, you limit the time that you are giving the realtor. The reason being is that, if it doesn't really work out, at least you have a chance to go to another realtor.
And Jay, it's something interesting to mention that the entire bridge team. Oh, it looks like we have another call coming in. Hi there, you're on the mic with Jay and Amit here on Let's Talk Real Estate.
Hi, how are you?
Good. May I ask who this is?
This is Ricky.
Ricky, all right, Ricky. Hello. So I guess you have some questions about real estate, or something about one of the questions or topics we're talking about now?
Yeah, sure. So I had a question about buying an older home in Brampton.
Okay, yeah.
And so I know that there's a G section of Brampton that has baseboard heaters without any HVAC ducts or anything.
Oh yeah, sorry, you're talking about the G section?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Zero lot line.
So my question is, how do I get around converting them from baseboard heaters to a full duct system?
Oh, okay. You know what? That's a very good question because Jay, there's a lot of good deals to be had in that particular section.
Definitely. A couple of things with those homes, especially the baseboard heater homes. Number one, yes, it's good to convert to gas and furnace. The reason behind it is two things. Number one, on baseboard heater, you can't put an air conditioned unit that cools the whole home. You do have to put it in the window only. Baseboard heating are very dry heat, so you'll find in the winter time you might get nosebleeds and all these things if you don't have
Dry
humidifier.
skin, you're gonna get paint cracking, things like that.
all those things, right? Even your floor and everything, it's it's going for moisture anywhere.
Right.
You just soak it up, just pull the moisture from anywhere you can find it.
So then
From
your floorboard
eyes,
starts
your
separating,
nose, from your wood, from everything, your furniture, everything. So it's always best to get that done. Now, number one, there are many contractors that do that. A couple of things. Number one, it's just not putting in a furnace. You got to run ductwork
Yes.
right throughout the homes. Sometime I've seen that in these homes they put the furnace up in the attic.
Oh.
Yeah, I've seen that they've put it in these
In the
older
oldest, yeah,
homes in the G section or H section or so. They put it in the attic. Today's standard, you can actually get it even on top of the roof, like an HVAC.
Really?
That works the same way, right? There are different ways that you can be
So that's if you don't have enough space in the smaller homes, right?
Definitely, and what they will do, most time they run the ductwork towards the corner, and they've done it very neatly.
So you don't like
They're really-
lose too much space of the room because now
Right.
what I'm thinking, Jay, is like if you're running ductwork, it's going to take up space in every room, right?
No, well, definitely. So the way they do it, in it's good ways. A lot of time they run the duct for the
Straight
rooms
up and
upstairs,
then-
straight up in the attic, and then just branch it off to the rooms.
right.
On the main floor, they run it just under and branch it off to where
Right.
it got to be done. Average cost about $15,000 to convert.
Well, that's good. Now, Ricky, are you buying one of these for yourself, or is it an investment property, or?
Yeah, it's for myself. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So I guess you're looking for the specific price point, right?
exactly.
Yeah, most properties within that range, yes, will have baseboard heating. They are good property. They are detached property. We call them zero lot line because the home is sitting on the lot line.
Right on the edge, yeah.
On the edge of the property. What you got to do also, Ricky, a very important aspect to look into these homes that a lot of people don't look into. Whether it's a lease land or the land is being owned. In that area, you find that there are quite a few property that the land is being leased, and they have something called an escalating land lease. And I've seen situation where you end up buying that property. The realtor say, "Oh, hey, you know what? It's nothing really wrong. You can buy it. You don't have to pay land transfer tax." Anytime they said you don't have to pay land transfer tax, run. It's land lease. Be careful
so they
because the
spin
land
it
is not
off.
being transferred, right? Yeah.
So they spin it as a benefit. Now, how does this
Right.
lease work? This land lease?
Well, the thing is, I've got one client. When I started real estate in '88, the Cornelius, that I sold her home. I'll give you an idea. A single mom bought her home maybe 15 years before that or 20 years before that.
Right.
She paid $22,000. Could have bought the land out for $4,000.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, things were tough. Single mom, raising a family. She chose to rent lease the land.
Yeah, right.
Now the government had something called an escalating land lease on that property.
Oh, yeah.
When we were ready to get that property sold, the actual value that similar homes were selling for without the land lease were $110,000.
Right.
When we checked into the government to see what their payout value, it was $95,000.
Oh, my goodness. So it's like you're buying the whole home.
Definitely. So that's why it's very important to check these things. So I know you come to find out more about conversion from electrical baseboard to gas, forced air gas. But this is an off spin of that with those type of homes.
Yeah.
Those homes were built during that time.
And you know what? Definitely, Ricky, make sure you speak with your agent about that specifically, because this is something you definitely want to keep. That might raise a red flag in case of anything.
Yeah, it can raise a red flag. Yeah, be careful with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for the question. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, you guys did. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Ricky. Take care. Good luck. All right, cool. On that note, we actually have come to the edge of this segment here, so I'll ask our viewers just to take a quick break and watch a few commercials, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate, here with myself, Ann McCanha, and Jay Bridgepaul, the one and only. So we have a really fun episode today. We're getting a lot of questions and answers for people that just have random real estate questions. And I find these are the most fun episodes for us too.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Jay, I wanted to jump into this. I saved this question for the last because we typically do our market updates, right? In the fourth one.
Yes.
Now, this is a funny question. Now, can a home actually depreciate in value? I've only been in the real estate market for the last 10 and 15 years, and I haven't seen that.
Yes, a home can depreciate in value.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on a couple of things. Depends on how it's being kept.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If your home is being run down, of course, the value will go down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If the market changes and the market goes down, it will depreciate. However, on a long-term basis, it's always go up. It's like a step. It may go up a little bit, slow a little bit down, go up again, come down a little bit, go up again. Average increase, we look at it over time, has been an average about between 5 to 7% increase per year.
Wow.
Right, give you an example. In 1995,
right,
I sold some properties, detached home that are about 3,800 square feet, double car garage, for $250,000.
Whoa! Okay. Holy smokes!
Right? That was top value then.
Wow!
Today you cannot even get a one-bedroom condo
for that value
for $250,000.
Jay, right off the bat, the home that you're describing there right now would be close to maybe $1.4 million.
Definitely, they are definitely over $1 million now. But that was the value we sold them for back then.
Wow.
In Rexdale, near the Humber College, those homes, they're nice small detached homes. I sold those homes for about $180,000. If they need work, $140,000.
Wow.
Tops $200,000. Today, nothing is under $700,000 there.
That's true.
So if you're telling me homes depreciate, not really true.
Yeah.
Homes appreciate in value. Is one product that you buy, that you live in, that goes up in value. Most family that live in their home, ask them where they make the most money from. They couldn't save it.
No, yeah.
They couldn't save it.
Yeah, that's true. It's their home.
It's their home. That's where it is. Right?
Wow.
So on a long-term basis, you never lose. Let's look at it this way again, another way. we in Canada,
Yeah.
we are 36 million people,
Oh yeah.
right? 10% of the population is going on to retirement.
Mm-hmm.
The government don't have a choice. They have to flood the country with immigrants.
We've got to bring new
We
people.
gotta
in.
bring
They gotta-
new-
who's going to
new
pay the
people.
taxes?
Right. We are getting older. We can't work the same way we were working when we were 25. So we
Right,
got to
right.
replace the workforce.
Mhm.
Right. So what happened? Every year they're estimating about 50,000 people to settle in the GTA.
Just in the GTA.
Just in the GTA. The government is averaging by 2020 a million people.
A
to be-
million
a
new
million
people.
new immigrants to be in
Wow.
the country by 2020.
Mhm. And it's
Minimum.
a very skilled workforce.
Definitely. So what happened? These become consumer of real estate. They gotta live.
Mhm.
They will buy their home within the first 2 to 5 years.
Mhm.
Right? And then what happened? The more, remember there's no land, so you gotta go out.
Right.
So what will happen if they have to buy in the city?
Mhm.
It will push price up. Right?
Exactly.
And if you think we are expensive,
Mhm.
look at England, look at Tokyo,
New
Japan,
York.
look at New York. I mean, in England, for example, they call it a flat, where let's say you got a end unit of a townhome, there are 3 flats,
Right.
right?
But- okay.
Main floor, and up, and then they probably have at the 3rd level.
And those are 3 different properties?
Or 3 different properties.
Wow.
And guess what? One property might be selling, one of those flat might be 1.4, 1.5 million pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Okay?
Pounds, not
Pounds,
dollars.
not dollars. So what happened? These people will sell their home over there, come to Toronto, buy a home for $700,000-800,000, and retire.
Yeah.
Same thing is happening from different parts of the world. So because of that, we find that real estate price have a lot more to climb.
They tend to increase, and you know, when you even think about it, if inflation is, you know, in the 1, 2, or 3% range, this is doubling inflation on
Real
average.
estate always act as a hedge against inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation will eat your money up in time, but real estate always stay above that.
You know what, Jay? It's kind of like what you always say. It's like you can't live in a mutual fund, right? It's maybe you just better to invest in property.
Well, definitely. I mean, I find some people they are renters and they don't mind renting, but they said, you know what, I don't want to tie up so much money in real estate. I'll pay rent. I don't have to worry about the repairs, and I will put my money in mutual funds.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of times you get people that are just, you know, genuinely wanting to use their capital for something else. They don't want to be tied up in a home. And that's why there's a great renter pool out there. So, you know, not to jump too much into investment properties, because that's not the idea for this particular segment.
Yes.
But, you know, rental properties are a good option for investing. There's a lot of good tenants out there.
I mean, that's true, because you get an average property, you get about, for every property out there, you get about 20 to 25 potential tenants that want to rent that property. That's the demand.
Jay, I did a bungalow in Flowertown just a few months back for one of our clients. We had 45 or 46 applications to rent the property. It was a bungalow, very nicely renovated, mind you, but it ended up going for $2,000 or $2,100 a month.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
what's happening. It's amazing what's happening out there in the rental market, and especially for first-time buyers as well. I encourage you, stop renting.
Yeah.
Stop paying a huge rent. Try to save and convert that, and buy your first property. You need as much as 5% only if your credit is clean and the income is there.
Yeah, and you know
can
what, Jay?
buy.
I mentioned that to a lot of colleagues, or not colleagues, sorry, friends of mine, and they always ask, you know, how do I get into the market? It's very, very expensive right now. So, you know, don't take that money and rent it if you just want some personal space, because a lot of young couples getting married now, they want that personal space, and they think, fine, I'll go rent for a few years and save and then buy. But by the time 2 or 3 years goes by with rent at $2,000 a month, there's not any room to save, Jay.
There's no room to save. That's why many of them are saying, you know what, I'll buy a newly built condo, a pre-built condo, and 3 years from now I will actually
have the capability to make your payments.
But a couple of things. Number one, you do have to put 20% down, because over time they want you to do that.
Usually within a year, year
right?
and a half,
That's true. And I am just trying to finish up an article now that I'll be putting in the papers about, you know, all these cancellations and newly built condo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right. The situation is this: Why put 20%, wait for 3 years for that to build, hoping that it will appreciate in value? Why not buy it today, move into it today, right? You stop paying rent today.
Yeah.
Over that time, the property will go up in value and your mortgage will come down.
Yeah.
Look at the benefit right there. If you're an investor, you start collecting rent today, the value will still go up like the newly built,
Right.
right? And your mortgage amount would have depreciated. So your mortgage have depreciated. You
asset
collect
has
you
gone
collect rent for 4 years,
And the asset has gone up.
and your asset have gone up.
Yeah.
So why, I can't understand why people are rushing the pre-built and tying up all their money.
Yeah.
Only to find out 4 years later, I'm disappointed because I received a registered letter in the mail
And it canceled.
that they cancel, and all I'm getting is my deposit back
After
with-
4 years or
After
3
4 years
years.
with
Oh,
the
goodness.
bank interest rate, 0.75%.
Wow, that's a very good point, Jay.
Yep.
That's a very good point. After you write that article, we're gonna have to do a little segment on that for the next show.
Yes.
But with that being said, we're down to the very end. I just want to do a quick market update, Jay. Now, there's a lot of craziness going on in the market right now. I'm seeing personally, properties under 550 selling like that, like hotcakes, 10 days, 5 days, 24 hours. Because that's where the affordability is.
Affordability, yes.
Properties in the 6 to maybe 700,000 are moving a little bit slow. They're kind of sluggish, maybe even up to 800,000.
Yes.
Properties over $1 million, Jay.
Yes. They are not going anywhere. See, majority of the number one is jobs, right? Majority of the people can afford to buy within this range. With the new mortgage rules as well, people are qualifying for less, and the banks are becoming very, very stringent in the way they screen buyers.
Yeah, they're more vigilant with their money, right?
They're
It's their money.
definitely they sense that the market is going this way. They want to be exceptionally careful how they are lending their money, and you will find more and more of this trend that will happen. The middle group, that's where the property will sell. Market has been going down for January, February, March, April is still is still not.
It hasn't really
level
fully
up,
picked up. And
picked
you know
up
what?
yet.
You know what's funny, Jay? Now, this is the first time I can remember, and I'm sure you've probably seen it before. You've seen it all. But, properties under 550, they are actually increasing, like the condos. But then properties in the 6, 7, 800 are very much stagnant. And then properties in the million are going down. So we have one market, 3 different types of homes, and they're all going in different directions.
Definitely, I've seen that before, but it's the best time for move-up buyers.
Yes.
You see, if you are moving up, you got a property at 550, you might get multiple offer and you sell it high.
Right.
But you go in and buy the $900,000 home, they don't have any offer.
You're negotiating down.
You're negotiating low.
Wow,
So it's the
interesting.
best time for people who are planning on selling and buying a bigger home.
Definitely.
You
Interesting.
gain on both sides.
All right, good stuff. Well, that kind of wraps it up for our market update and this segment in general. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. Hope to, see you guys soon. All right,
See you
take
soon.
care.
Take care. Bye.